January 1st, 2009, the church was relocated to 322 Anderson Street, with the first service being a New Year celebration. What were your thoughts on acquiring a new building or a new home for Greater Joy?
We were excited.
It was off the chain.
Yeah, it was exciting because we had space to finally put down.
To celebrate.
You know, we got rid of the purple bags.
Yes.
So we had an
We
office,
had offices.
and we had desks, and we had drawers, and we had filing cabinets, which we hadn't had for 90 days, for 3 months and some change. So, yeah, we were excited. We thought Anderson Street was the biggest building. All of those rooms and spaces. Oh, God, we thought it was the biggest building ever.
Until you ran into a problem.
And 12 months later, we didn't have space. We were doing...
Even dropping chairs on Sunday.
Even dropping chairs and doing multiple services.
So your largest services were Easter, Thanksgiving,
And New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve and Christmas Day.
Yeah, so we were busting at the seams on those days.
And sometimes Mother's Day.
Mother's Day was a huge day.
Yes.
But our largest day was usually New Year's Eve.
Yes.
If you remember, we had gone to having two services at the same time. We were having a service in the church and a service in the fellowship hall, and both of them were packed.
Yes.
I preached at 9 o'clock in the fellowship hall. No, I preached at 10 o'clock in the fellowship hall, and then left the fellowship hall, went into church and preached at 11 o'clock, and at 12 o'clock we were all in prayer, piping it in both locations. We had people everywhere.
The walls were sweating.
It was, yeah, the walls were sweating in there. It was amazing. We were excited about the growth.
Yes.
We were excited about that movement.
Yes. So, from 2009 to 2010, you had 21 three-night revivals, and
Wow.
2010, 2011, there were 19 three-night revivals.
Wow.
Not including your one-night services with other churches.
Wow.
Why is it important to fellowship with other pastors and their church families?
Man, I don't even know how I survived that. 21, wow. Yeah, that was an important time of sharing with others and being in the communities and helping other pastors, and our church enjoying fellowship other places.
Yes.
Greater Joy was getting known.
Yes.
We were moving around so much. Our name was
Yes.
getting known out there, that we were a ministry that believed in helping people and community, and that was really important to me. And I got a chance to meet so many great pastors and ministries, and so it was tiresome because by that time, I'm not sure if I was still working, but I was, when I say working a secular job.
Right.
Because for some time, I think it was up through 2000, I can't remember what year I left IBM, but it was at one time, Rhonda, I was doing that and working a full-time job during the day. So I was working all day and preaching every night. Just about 21 weeks is half the year.
That's a long time.
So
Yes.
it was good. It was interesting. I got a chance to meet a lot of great people, but that ain't nothing I'm remotely interested in today.
You want to start over?
Yeah, somebody started talking about, I think I had somebody a few months ago, before COVID hit, invited me to do a 5-night revival or something. I told them that I think they had been drinking or something.
So you're feeling on 3-night and 5-night revivals. Are they, well, so you would do those for friends? Or
Every now and then, maybe. I just think times have changed.
Yes.
I think culture has changed. Churches are so busy. revivals at one time, churches didn't meet any time much except on a Sunday morning or at a maybe a midweek service, and many of them weren't but 2 Sundays a month. So revival was a time for everybody to come together, and it was electric and fun, and I think the revivals are still needed. If you notice, I just don't put it on the calendar. It's got to be something I feel that the church needs to be called into, and then we will go about revivals. I just think things have changed because church is so busy. You think about us, before COVID, we were 6 times a week.
Right.
So if you're meeting and preaching and teaching and fellowshipping, and your team is working 6 times a week,
that's a lot.
That's 2 revivals.
That's a lot.
You see. So
yes.
I just think things that the culture is changing, and revivals will be more about reviving the people and bringing them to repentance and bringing them to a place of laying before God, more than it just being services on calendars.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. The Family and Friends Day is a huge event for you and the Greater Joy Church family in July every year. Tell me about that and why it began.
Well, any ministry, let me word this right. Any ministry that is absent of social ministry is not much ministry at all.
You love being with the people.
Social ministry means not just being with the people, that there are needs that have to be met.
Right.
And we can't meet them sitting in the wall.
Not just in church.
There's just no way. Think about our Family and Friends Festival that brings together 3,500 people on Boone Street Park. Health care, dental care, feeding, clothing, and the fellowship, and all of the healthcare professionals that come together.
And the food.
And the food. All of that stuff. All of that stuff is a part of what is needed. So the festival for me is about the church getting outside of its walls, doing actual missions. Folks struggle with it. There are some of our parishioners that still haven't bought into social ministry. They don't help in community. They don't want to be outside because it's hot. I understand all of that. But the issue becomes that Jesus did not do his work. His major work was not accomplished in the synagogue.
Right.
It took place
in his
out
travels.
in his travel, in the street, helping people.
Yes.
And so I say to any ministry that is not doing social ministry, you got to figure out, and you don't have to do everything, but you got to find something that you do that actually does. And we're not talking about just spiritually lifting somebody. We're not talking about those kinds of things. We're talking about what do you do to physically and when I say physically, I'm talking about feed, clothe, and health care.
Yes.
What are we doing to help those people in those areas? And if we aren't doing that, we aren't doing much as a church, because dancing and shouting is not. Church is bigger than that.
Not touching the people.
That's not. And the church is bigger than that. It's people have needs, and they aren't just to lift their spirits. That is part of it, but it's not just to lift their spirits. Okay. It's not just to try to speak life over them. Folks are hungry.
It's just one part.
It is. People are hungry. Think about what happens with health care. We're in a society where the majority of our folks don't even have health care. Don't have insurance to go to the doctor. Let me go to another one. Dental care. Most folk don't have, not most folk, many people don't have dental care.
Right.
So when we bring dental care, free dental care to the community.
Free cleaning, free extraction.
Right. When you do that, to the average person who don't have dental care, that has changed their lives. Think about someone, there was a young man who told us he walked around with a toothache for 6 months waiting on the time for us to bring because he couldn't afford dental care. Think about what that did for his life. He's not in pain anymore after he leaves that park. We're not just talking about preaching and jumping and shouting for. We're talking about the whole being, the whole man.
Touching the body.
The whole man has to be touched. And so the festival is about any of the community needs that we find. We try to find ways to address them at that festival, especially health care and information.
The medicine piece was great.
Man, that medicine piece, you think about, and Michelle Fields was key in helping us to get that done. Think about how much medicine got into the hands of hundreds of thousands of people for free. That may not. We got things like allergy medicines. Just think about just allergy medicines. Most of us suffer from some kind of ragweed or whatever it is, but the whole community got that on that day for free that they may not have been able to get. Children and aspirin and Tylenol and things to calm fevers. Think about people going to the emergency room just because they got a fever. But if you got fever reducers,
you can skip the.
So we've created a whole different situation where not only are we putting the healthcare professionals in a situation where some folk ain't gonna be able to pay that bill, but we also got people that we haven't put in the position that they get billed.
Right.
So it
touches a broader
festival,
realm of people. Yes.
They did music out there.
The businesses.
The businesses out there, the music out there. Think about people that just enjoy music.
Yes.
Think about businesses that showed up. Think about folks that got to advertise their business.
For free.
For free.
Yes.
No charge. They get a chance. So when they leave the park, they've passed out business cards for, 3,000 people show up. So that's potentially customers or businesses for them. So it's that stuff. The festival is more about people than it is about anything.
So you can't really have the festival without knowing the gravity of what it takes to pull off something like that. So speak on how you make that happen.
It's crazy.
Behind the scenes.
You're talking about a financial monster.
Yes.
And so the great thing about it is we have partners that believe in what we do in that situation.
Every year.
Every single year they are part of it.
Yes.
If they don't, we'll use Word Tabernacle, Church on the Rise, Redeemer Church. These are folk that every year are part, and there's many more. I'm just thinking of those. Those are just ones that come to my mind that have been with us. Word Tabernacle have been with us since year number 2.
Right.
And because of their belief in what we're doing, they contribute not only their financial support, but their people.
Their people.
And that helps us to reach so many people. On that day, we are evangelizing the park. So all of the churches are out there trying to win people to Christ. We don't care where they go to church.
Right.
We don't.
Right.
Think about this, Rhonda. If 3,000, if all 3,500 of those folk wanted to go to church because it was greater joy on that day, we can't hold 3,000 people.
Absolutely.
So evangelism is about winning souls and getting them to somebody's church.
Okay.
Because if everybody in Rocky Mount decided tomorrow they're going to get saved and go to church, we ain't got enough churches to hold them.
We can't hold it.
Right. So there's no reason for any kind of competition, fighting. The festival is about winning people. The festival is about getting our churches to work together And we have done, when I tell you that these churches have done a great job, they have done an amazing job.
They have been awesome
Yeah.
supports. So we're going to get into church culture. Explain why you believe a sermon should be no more than 30 minutes or maybe 40 minutes.
Well, I can't say I believe it should be any time limit.
Right.
That it just so happens that my model is 30, 40 minutes. It's my belief that, and I'm not saying that I'm right or wrong, I'm just stating that it's my belief that after 20, 30 minutes, folks fading on you anyway.
Where they going?
Yeah, they somewhere. They at lunch or dinner, or they going over to.
They clocking out.
They going over to somewhere to eat dinner, to smokehouse or somewhere. They going down the smokehouse in their mind. So I just think that you don't hold people and their attention for long periods of time. Deal with whatever the Lord gives you. Old lady told me one time, you can't tell it all at one time. Yeah, so save some of it for the next time. So I just think that you have to look at your culture, figure out what works for your house, and try not to overstay.
That's what attracted me years ago, 2006. I'm driving from Sharpsburg. I get to the church. I get greeted. I get, hello, good morning, and, with the smiles and the hugs, and then I move to the sanctuary. I get a program. I get an envelope, and I sit down, and the person that comes to the podium is you. Why is that important for you?
As far as
touching the people, being on the doors.
You mean greeting?
Yes.
Well, I think that sometimes it can be your blessing or your curse, because you get pulled on so much sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't see myself being able to pastor people and I'm not touchable. I believe that shepherds supposed to smell like sheep.
Okay.
I think that I'm supposed to be reachable. All of the congregants have my personal cell. If they don't have it, it's because they haven't asked someone for it. It's not private. It's important to be a part of people's lives and be touchable and talk to them. And I just don't understand how you can pastor people and they don't have access to you. I know it's difficult when they get into the sizes of ministry. I get that. Because it's tough for me, when it's gotten this large. Mm-hmm. It's tough for me. But I just, greeting people, I'm going to be on the door greeting folks. I'm going to touch folks. Or somewhere, I'm going to walk and talk and touch everybody, say good morning. I'm going to do that.
Right.
I just think that that's a part of what is needed. People need to know that their man or woman of God is touchable.
So what can I expect if I come to Greater Joy under your leadership in the service?
You can expect that there's going to be the best singing there is.
Okay.
You're going in either location, you're going to have singing, you're going to have scripture and prayer, and in a few minutes I'm going to be to the podium to give the word.
Okay.
You can expect no more than a 90-minute service. We're going to be in...
So you mean from top to bottom?
Top to bottom in 90 minutes.
Entering the church to... Amen.
You get here at 9 o'clock. At 10:30, you're going to be in your car or on your way. Because or shortly thereafter. Sometimes we run over a little bit. But because I don't think that some of the things that we did in church for long periods of time is not what folk came for. They really came to get a word for their life, and they really came to hear good singing. Really and truly, that's all they really care about.
Really?
If they don't care about announcements, even though you got to give some instruction. They don't care. They care about good worship. They care about good worship. They care about good songs for, when I say praise and worship, and then good song selection, uplifting songs, and a word. That's what they care about. And then there are even those that only want to hear the preached word.
Right.
You
So
see?
you had a special service for that. That was 8 a.m.
8 a.m., you may have Elder Tashika would do a song or two here, and on the other end, not on the other end, we had 90 minutes on the other end, but on this end, she'd do one or two songs in the beginning. Right after that, I'm up. Say if you would, she might do a song, sermonic, and we right into the word.
Right into the
People, there are, we even got to where we were doing, at night, we do songs on Tuesday night, but at noonday, we don't. We just go straight to the word. So, what people really need, what people really want is a word from God, but they also love great singing.
Great singing.
Yeah, they love good singing, and we have some of the best singing there is. We have some of the best singers there is.
So, looking at your entire service, there's a piece in there called Pastoral Support on your giving.
Mm-hmm.
Explain why that is.
Well, initially, years ago when we started, we weren't able to do a lot of things. So we wanted tithes and offering to go to the objective of ministry items.
Okay.
And then we wanted the Leviticus model of the people of God taking care of the man of God or woman of God. And so we made pastoral support and tithes and offering envelopes, and you gave what you wanted in pastoral support, and you gave your tithe.
Right.
Now, as the church grew, I tried to make adjustments, but our people didn't want to do that. They wanted to keep it as it was.
So you're saying combining?
They wanted to just combine it, and we
Just
pay
a tithe and an
and we
offering
just pay the pastor salary, and our people didn't want that. They wanted to be able to give as they wanted to the man of God, and so with that being said, people today we still use that model.
Yes.
Yeah, and it works for us.
It still works.
We say the man of God doesn't receive a salary. My salary comes through what the people do, and then then the church looks out for some of the things such as support items of stuff that is needed. Everybody's got to have some insurance and things of that sort. But when you look at what we've done, it works. And so we use that model, and we stuck with that model.
Okay. You spoke about the College of Bishops and the order of services and the things that you learned there. What does high holy mean to you?
Separated, segregated time that we put total emphasis on communion. One of the sacraments of the church, other than baptism, is Holy Communion. And it is a time for us that we put all of our focus on the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ. No death, no burial, no resurrection, no bloodshed, no church.
You're right.
So without that, he died for us. And we put focus on it. So it's a time where we take all of the focus off of what people wear. So we want everyone dressed in a certain attire and most of our people dress in black, and we take all the emphasis off of everything except communion.
Wonderful.
Focus on it so that we show to those that don't know the importance of that moment.
Another service that you put a lot of emphasis on is baptism. That's a night of celebration, evangelism, bringing in family units and celebrating the candidates. What is that for you?
Well, in our baptizing, it's more about the candidate, because the candidate's saying, "Hey, I'm this brand new life. I'm starting all over again, and hey, I might fall, but this is going to be a point of remembrance for me that I made a commitment to God." Critical in the life of a Christian. Critical. I remember being baptized years and years and years and years and years. It's a critical moment.
Yes.
In the life of being baptized. I remember mine. I was baptized in an outdoor cement pool in the month of September after the revival, and it was cold.
It was cold.
It was cold. I remember it. I will also bring to remembrance why baptism is so much important, so important to me, is because even when I went to Israel, I went to the Jordan, and it was November. It was ice cold. I got in the Jordan River to be baptized by one of my friends, Leonzo Lynch, out of Charlotte. I wanted to be baptized where it's symbolic of the importance of the remission
of sin. So you
actually
took the trip to Israel.
Yeah, I took the trip to Israel. It was incredible. The worst part about it is the flight. But
the flight.
Yeah, just the length of the flight. But the being there, being in the tomb, being in the Holy Land, seeing where Jesus was, being in the upper room, stuff that you just never can forget.
Wow.
Leaves an impact.
Okay. Usually Thanksgiving is a day for personal time and family. Greater Joy is usually serving the community on that day. What are your thoughts about Thanksgiving dinner and the Coke giveaway?
Well, let me first say that I have the most amazing group of people, from missionaries to associate ministers, senior associate, Britt and Howard, and then missionaries, Miss Burt and that crew, and Miss Renee and that crew in Rocky Mount. Because First Lady's family is in New York, that's one holiday that I'm always out of pocket.
Right.
Every year since we've been married, we are always with her family. And so the importance of Thanksgiving to community and people is so huge that we couldn't overlook it, and it's not wrapped around me. It's for people. So whether or not I'm here or not doesn't matter. Miss Renee, Miss Burt, Miss Elder Howard, Elder Britt, make sure that service goes on, and the service is not a service, a worship service, the service of the people.
Service of the people.
And they feed the communities, everyone that is in need of food. We're not talking about junk. We're talking about a prepared Thanksgiving meal with Coke giveaway and clothing giveaway.
Small appliances.
Oh man, they do the most amazing job, and people get fed. We've been doing that for many, many years.
Yes.
And I'm grateful because, as I told you, if you don't do community, if you don't do social, there's no church.
No church.
No, there's no church. That's a waste of time.
Okay. Christmas Day is one of the largest services for Greater Joy during the year. Talk about why Greater Joy has service on that day.
First of all, we should have service.
No offense to anybody.
No offense to anybody. It's Jesus' birthday.
It's his birthday.
It's is we've made it, we've commercialized it. And I don't knock anyone for the decisions they make
Right.
about it. I'm just stating in my own mind that it's Jesus' birthday and we should be celebrating Christ with which was his the church was his birthing. That's what he did. Because of him we have the church.
Yes.
And what I did from there is I saw that we commercialized it so much that we hurt the feelings of so many people. Children were not receiving gifts, and we teach through this commercialized Christmas that everybody's supposed to get a gift.
Right.
So I began this process of making sure that any child that showed up at church, we gave them a gift.
That they got a gift.
They're among the masses of people who get gifts.
They get a gift.
They get a gift.
And that was important to you.
Important that no child was without a gift. What kind of Christmas is it that a child at least don't get one gift?
Yes.
But there are many parents who not able. So we made it. All they had to do was show up.
Yes.
And we made sure that every child got a gift. So it's huge for us. That's why it's been such a huge. We have a ton of children.
The only other service that we haven't spoke about is MLK. What is the gravity of fellowship that day?
Well, it's bigger than fellowship. It's more about what does it mean. I had some people this week upset with me because I made comments about Black Lives Matter.
Okay.
I stated that all lives matter is not an acceptable response to Black Lives Matter.
Right.
Because all lives are not experiencing racism. So the reason I'm not talking about a Black Lives movement. I'm talking about Black lives.
Right.
We matter. I'm saying that when you look at Dr. King's birthday, it was about promoting that all people are equal.
Right.
And when we have police brutality, racism, the voter suppression, all of the stuff that we're dealing with, then, hey, we got to find the moments that have been marked and use them to highlight what things or how things should really be. So MLK is about, he said, he left word for us, Dr. King did, that make it a day of service.
A day of
so
service.
We create service as in worship service, but we also create service as in service to others. One year we went to the shelters. One year we tried other things about supporting and helping people. Over the past few years, with Elder Dancy, we have created something that's been in my spirit for many years that I couldn't get off the ground, where we were having the Black Expo. Mm-hmm. And what it is, a way to promote small business or to promote black business on that day. And I just want us to continue trying to do things to lift our brothers and sisters up. And we're not trying to promote segregation. We're just saying that these businesses don't get the same exposure.
Right.
So we're trying to help lift those businesses. So on that day, they get a chance to advertise. Any black business that we can get our hands on. I think last couple of years we've had about 100 businesses here.
Yes. And it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Think back to when we had 7:45 a.m., 9:30 a.m., and 12 p.m. service. What does that bring to mind, and what does it mean to you?
It means that we stayed the course.
We did.
It means that we were faithful to the cause. It means that people's lives were touched. And if you do what God has assigned your hands to do, He said that He would grow the church daily.
Yes.
And He brought about massive growth and great ministry for years to come, because people will grab hold of what we built, the foundation of it, which was helping people, and it will continue. Long after me.
Yeah.
Long after me, it will continue.
We talked about all the different services and the different church cultures that you have built for our church. I have a favorite series, and it's called Kill the Cow.
Yeah, that's an old one.
And my favorite sermon is Shout It Out.
Okay.
Those services were standing room only. Talk about that series and sermon.
Well, the series on, I think it was around, even though we call it Kill the Cow, it was built around sacred cows that are in church. That things have to be a certain way all the time. If you don't do the scripture here or the prayer here, if you don't do the song here, if you let's say you don't do a song, or let's say you put the sermon at the beginning of the service, at some point in the old church, folk would lose their mind.
Right.
And what we were trying to do was to say, who said that was right?
Right.
Who said that you got it right? It's no template in the Bible that says this is what you're supposed to wear, this is what you're supposed to dress. There's no template like that, and we created that. And anytime people do anything different, it's a problem. We talked about pants, women wearing pants, and
preachers.
We went through all of that through this series, because what we were trying to do was bring down the stronghold and get rid of things that were keeping people, dress codes, the way people look, hairstyles, all of the stuff that had people sitting in certain places. All of that stuff were cows that need to be killed so that the church could grow.
Wow.
Yeah. So and Shout It Out was just and I can't remember exactly all that I preached, but I do remember that morning having a bottle of Shout It Out, and we were talking about not letting anything bog you down. Right. Just get above that. Put your praise on it and move. We were just trying to shake off the fact that there were things that were hindering us.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. That Sacred Cow was one of my favorite teachings.
Kill the Cow.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite teachings.
And you had something in Kill the Cow where you're saying everything. There's a human side to me. It's not because I'm married. I can't look. I can't see. These things you kind of kill for some of us to deliver us from tradition and different things in the church. What was your purpose behind it? Why did you introduce Kill the Cow to your congregation?
Well, we'll close it like this. I've messed it up so much. And when you mess up, people tend to think that if it goes wrong, then God is not a part anymore. And I wanted to dispel that if things go wrong. See, when I look at my own life, man, I haven't always gotten it right, and I still don't get it right. And that's the reason for my level of humility, Rhonda, to the point where I don't allow myself to get dragged into judgmental stuff. I just think that people want someone who is, it's hard to lead somebody if you lead from a posture of I'm perfect. And I'm not. I haven't been perfect. I wasn't perfect when I started preaching. I haven't been perfect in the past 27 years. I'm not perfect today. And I think that that's what people want to hear. They want to know, not that you're trying to give them what they want to hear, but they want to know. Because think about it. When you are taught that you get it right all the time, when you get saved, and then you get saved, and you don't get it right, you start questioning
What happens?
What's wrong with me?
Yes.
The truth of the matter is, everybody that got saved didn't get it right every day. That's the truth of the matter. Every day there's a struggle. Every day there's something you fighting with. Every day you trying to get it right, but you seem to mess it up. I don't care who you are. I don't care how long you've been saved. There's something in your life that you still haven't gotten right.
Wow.
And people were thinking, when we look at that series showed folks, and it still holds true today. If you don't get it right, get up. Try it again.
Right.
And that's what we've built this whole ministry around, is trying again. And the reason that rings for me, Rhonda, is because even today, I don't always get it right.
And most pastors won't admit that, and that's difficult.
Well, and I won't say just pastors. I think that the problem is not. See, we want to put the blame on the pastor some, but let me tell you why. Because people want them to live in a glass house. We want to
perfect life.
We want to believe. We want to make folk what they not.
Wow.
The preacher is the used vessel of God. Is he held to a higher standard?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And he has to work harder. He does. But don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. The same fights that you have, the same fights they have. The same things they are struggling with, the same things you struggle with. Might not be the exact same vice.
Right.
But I'm stating that there are struggles in all of us.
There's something there.
There's something, and you gotta. What has to happen is, as a pastor, you can't let people put you in that house, because you'll kill yourself trying to live up to something you can't. So I just say the heck with it. I'm not trying to live up to something. Have I made a mess sometime? Yep. Right. I made a mess, and people try to hold you accountable for it. One of my friends stated one time, pastor friend, he said, why is it that I can put up with all of y'all stuff?
Yes.
But if I mess up, y'all want to kill me.
Right.
I just think, I'm not saying that, I think sometimes pastors just need to take a deep breath, find somebody they can confide in and talk to, because they're gonna bust the pipe trying to live a life that does not exist. It just don't exist.
The Exodus. Remember that day? I
do.
What prompted the move from Anderson Street to Nashville Road?
You know, we were talking about building a building over on Boone Street.
Yes.
And
floor plans and all.
Floor plans, we had it all laid out, we were ready to go, and we just could not make it, we couldn't make it turn. And I didn't understand why initially, but Pastor Gillian and I started talking about his move. he was getting ready to move, and I said, "Well, okay, you gonna move?" He said, "Yeah." His thought was he wanted to move, but he didn't want to leave the community. Um, and I wasn't gonna leave the community. So we started talking about this facility and looking at the space that it provides, and one day it just came clear as a bell. This is what we need. This puts us right where we need to be, doing what we need to do in the community.
So,
And we were able to accomplish everything that we were trying to do with the other building, with a building that was already in place.
and you still have Anderson Street.
Still have Anderson Street. We're still doing ministry out of that location, food banks and different things to help people. And we have other ministries that are using the facility, so it's being utilized. Boone Street is still in place. We're still going to utilize. COVID put a chokehold on the festival, but we'll be back. We'll be back this year.
You're looking forward to it?
Yeah, looking forward to it.
What's the most memorable moment in the Exodus?
Probably two things. There's two moments. One would be all of the founders that are still hooked into ministry are either still with us. We had Shonda was the only person who had moved because of family.
Relocate, yeah.
And but everybody was still with us, and to know that after, was it 6 years?
Yes.
We were still together doing ministry. You guys were still
here.
looking to do ministry. And second of all, anything I do with my dad.
Cutting the ribbon. And
Cutting the ribbon, walking with him.
wow.
Because initially, this is a standing on his shoulder thing.
Yes. And giving back to him, giving credit.
Giving credit. Yeah.
Where
He's due all the honor. He's due double honor for his work.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. If Pastor G was here now, what would you say to him now?
Pastor G is my friend.
Your friend?
Pastor G is probably my closest friend. Pastor G is a good guy. He's the kind of guy that I can lean on and depend on. I can talk to him about anything, and we don't have to be preachery. We just
friends.
We just
Men.
we get on the phone, men talking about we eat lunch talking about nothing. Just friends. And we do a lot of great ministry together. We think about ministry and life a lot alike. Meaning that there's a way to do it, and then there is that we don't have to live like we aren't human beings.
We're going to play a little game.
All right.
And it's called word response.
Okay.
I give you a word, and you tell me what you think right off the gate.
Okay.
First lady.
My heart.
Retirement.
Thank you, Jesus.
Really?
You said a word. I'm sorry. I got confused. I got wrapped up. Hallelujah.
Okay. Family.
Important.
Holy Bible.
My God.
Bishop James E. Daniel.
Rock.
Lay member.
Essential.
Jesus.
Center.
Tyler.
My God.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Holy Spirit.
You're welcome.
Beulah Daniel.
Sweetheart.
Ministry.
Love.
Taylor.
Wow. My baby, my heart, everything.
Church.
Critical.
C.B. Daughtridge.
Thanks.
Joy Bucks.
Fun.
Music.
Incredible.
And we're done.
I'll close by saying that it has been an amazing journey. The founders have been amazing. My family has been amazing. Above everything, my wife has been amazing.
Yes. It's
The
been
ministry that's in her, she is my ministry. She ministers, not only do I minister to her, but she's there for me. And I need that when you've been beat up,
awesome. Yes.
knocked down. You need somebody that just cares for you. She don't care nothing about nothing else.
No flaws.
She don't care. Hey, I am who I am, and she just loves me. And I'm thankful for her. I'm looking forward to spending the grace years of our lives together. And I'm looking forward to them being fruitful and enjoyable.
Awesome.
My family is incredible. My children. I'm just so proud of Tyler and Taylor. And I'm thankful for all that has transpired. If I had any closing words other than my love for First Lady, I would say that I love God, I love my family, but I love this church. This church is so important, and all the people of it. The founders down in Roanoke Rapids, we're going to be highlighting them, but amazing work they've done there.
Yes.
We talk about Rocky Mount because it was the inception of it all, but there was another group of founders that did the satellite location, and they have done an amazing job. I love the church. I know that God has much in store for it in its future. If I don't get a chance to ever say anything else, I know this is being recorded. If I never got another chance to record, I would just say that I pray that people would be about my Father's business and do whatever it takes to try to reach the next person for Christ. That would be my heart's desire. I don't know if I'll be here next year. I don't know if I'll be here the year after. I don't know if I'll be here the year after that. But whenever my time is up, if anybody remember me for anything, don't remember me for great preaching. Don't remember me for how well I may have pastored and did certain things. I want to be remembered that no matter who people were, no matter what they had done, I was the kind of pastor that gave them another chance.
No matter how many.
No matter how many times they failed. I want to be remembered as a pastor that will help somebody over and over and over again.
Awesome.
All right?
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you, Rhonda.